Hello and welcome to Just Bleed Radio. This is your host, Dangermouse, and remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. It is November the 5th, and that means it's bonfire night here in the UK, and the night is filled with fireworks and explosions. Unlike UFC's Fight Night 231 main event, which was somewhat of a damp squib, but we'll get to that later. This is episode 10 of Just Bleed Radio. We finally made it, guys.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, we made it a couple of weeks ago, but it never made it to air. We did the Halloween show, but I called it a special, so this is now the official episode 10. As usual, I'm joined by my far more knowledgeable co-host, Austin, aka No Special, and our maybe super stoned editor, Super Dave Fairtex, and we'll hear from them in just a moment. Today we'll be discussing the fights from UFC Fight Night 231, the main and the co-main, and we'll have a brief look at anything else that's interesting from the card. Although we do have the UFC 295 next week at Madison Square Gardens, we'll be doing a full preview show for that, so you'll have to wait a little longer before we discuss it. We may touch on some other MMA news. We'll see how much time we have. And so with no further ado, let me just say hi to Dave and Austin and ask, overall, how was this card for you guys? Your score 1 to 10? Austin, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. Hello. It's great. Mind you, I had primarily just watched the main card. I got bits and pieces of the prelims, and it doesn't look like I missed too much, but the main card I got pretty much all the fights and watched them last night. Fortunately, I was busy with the rankings and had to replace both of our sinks for the guest bathroom and the main bathroom. So I was a little bit busy this weekend. But overall, I felt the card almost failed by no fault of the rest of the fighters apart from Almeida. But ridiculously interesting card at first, and then just all the cancellations last minute. I felt like this card was just going to be trash to begin with, and then it kind of saved itself. I would have ranked it like before the main event, I would have probably ranked it like maybe a 6, maybe a 6.5. And now I'm kind of thinking it's more like a 5, 4.5.
And you, Dave?
Overall, I think I'm at about a 5, same. I watched the whole card, but I was kind of, I'm going to be honest, I was kind of in and out a little bit. I was going to rewatch it today, but I got conned into doing these rankings thing, something I didn't even sign up for, and it completely destroyed my day, so I didn't get to catch up on the fights like I wanted to.
Oh my God.
So, but from what I remember, it was a 5-ish card. I mean, there were some good performances and stuff, and a little excitement, but the drab kind of overwhelmed the small bits of excitement for sure. 5.
Yeah, I'll it 5. I think I was a bit more generous than you guys. I think I'd probably give it a 6.5 to 7. So anyway, I don't know what our listeners might think. Please let us know in the comments. Guys out there, I know there's some Discord donks that listen to this at the very least. Give us a hand in the YouTube rankings and all that good bullshit. Anyway, let me just take us into the main event. I was going to do a quick rundown of the fight, but it's probably not worth my effort or your effort to listen to it. Despite the fact I spent a lot of effort typing the review up. So I'll just cover a few points. Cover a quick few points. Like round 1 starts about 30 seconds in. Almeida throws a kick, head kick, follows it up with a shot. 30 seconds later, Lewis is on the ground, mounted within a minute. He does briefly get out, and he gets up about halfway through the round. I think he does actually land a couple of hammer fists there, which is kind of unusual in the rest of the fight. Then round 2 starts the same way. Jailton just ducks under Lewis's punch, downed and mounted within 20-30 seconds. First moment of Lewis complaining about the lack of action in the fight, which is a certain amount of irony there, I guess. Um, and then, and then round 3, you get that first 30-second burst from Lewis, then back on the ground again, rinse and repeat. That was the funniest moment of the fight for me, though. I did like this. There's a moment where Lewis is obviously laid on his back, and you see Goddard just comes up and goes, "Don't look at it." I'm presuming Lewis was giving the full puppy eyes kind of syndrome, because Goddard just says, "Don't look at me, fight."
He did say that. He's like, it's not my fault. What do you want me to do? I can't stop the fight for you.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny though, because I know obviously it's just a referee giving instructions, but it did kind of feel like coaching, because Lewis did immediately almost get up and turn over, and Jailton slid off his back, and then Lewis did land a few half decent, I guess, ground and pound strikes. It was his best moment of the fight, and I argue that Mark Goddard caused it.
That's hey, nothing like urgency from the ref, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And then we had the obviously Jailton I put on my notes, he ducks for cover, and then I got to thank Dominic Cruz for this, for doing a half guard sweep, and then he took back the position from Lewis and is back into mount, and then he actually ended the round. Jailton ended the round with a couple of heavy shots that hurt Lewis. They were probably his most significant strikes in the entire fight. And then it's just more of the same kind of thing for round 4 and 5. We had 5th round, we had Goddard warning about holding position, which was arguably a little bit late. And the commentary team saying they've never seen a guy in mount being told to work, which is fair enough, I would say. Kind of cracked me up. So fight ends with a very obvious win for Almeida. But I've talked long enough for the moment, so I'm going to pass it on very shortly. But in my intro, I called it a damp squib of a fight. Well, was it or not? What are your thoughts, Austin?
So,
and quickly, did we learn anything from the fight or either fighter's performance?
oh God, no, we did not. We've learned one thing: if you simply do not believe in jujitsu, it cannot hurt you. That is what we learned. If you simply do not believe in the jujitsu that is attacking you, or just don't do it at all, like apparently it means nothing, because Almeida cannot do anything. He had him in like arm triangle chokes. He tried to actually submit him from the back with the rear naked a couple of times. Like, I don't know why Almeida was so committed to choking him. He should have just like committed to like looking for maybe an arm bar, a Kimura, maybe even a goddamn leg lock or something like that. Because like at this point, like what the hell did we learn? All we learned was Lewis still can't be submitted apparently, because he just refuses to believe in grappling. I just stand up and therefore it doesn't work. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
He didn't
And
do a
as
lot
for
standing up, but
he did. It was insane. Just the fact that he's like, all right, I think I've had enough of this. I'm just gonna stand up now. Yeah, he had like a 30 to 40 pound advantage. Oh, I want to say it was like a 40 pound advantage on Almeida, but like the athleticism was clearly, you know, the younger and the more athletic fighter was just struggling to finish the older fighter that didn't want to engage on the ground at more often than not. And the sad part is that this hurts Almeida more than it does Lewis, because it suggests like, okay, this is the prospect. He's no longer a light heavyweight, and he's pretty much committed to being a heavyweight until, I'm assuming, he loses at certain points. Then the questions can come up, but uh, honestly, this is more of a bad look for Almeida than anything, because he couldn't finish a man who gave little to no resistance on the ground. And on top of it, it was a 5-round decision. Like, at a certain point, like, if he didn't turn up the volume looking for strikes on top, what were we doing? Like, if he couldn't find a submission, is that all he has? Is a front kick, a high kick, and possibly a 1-2, and then maybe a body kick, and then just immediately going in for a desperation, because he looks scared at certain points trying to not get hit. And I'll be honest, I would be scared if I was him too. Derek had moments of success, and it was few and far in between. Like if Derek just turned it up just a little bit at each of those points, just a little bit more, he probably wins the fucking fight. But it's neither here nor there. Like it's already done and over with. This doesn't help him. He still continues the win streak, but this doesn't kill Lewis's ability to get into the big fight either. Hell, I mean, why not just put him with Biggie or Tai Tuivasa in a rematch? Like they both lost. Like just put him in fun fights. Who cares? I don't know what to do with Almeida because this isn't good at all. That's it.
Dave? Yeah, I was going to say, I presumed you sound like you finished there, Austin. Dave, what do you think?
I thought the fight was terrible. It was boring as hell. We did learn that. Austin said like just stand up worked for him a couple times, but I think we learned just get up isn't a viable option against a decent grappler, even in heavyweight MMA. Like he was held down a long time. It was just another boring heavyweight fight, another Derek Lewis main event.
He was held down. Sorry, just interrupting, Dave. He was held down for 21 minutes 10 seconds of the fight. Lewis, Lewis controlled the fight for 57 seconds.
Yeah, so the just get up thing didn't really work out so well. I think we did actually learn some good stuff about Almeida. Like, this was a shit performance. Like, lots of top control, couldn't get the finish. But Derek Lewis is a decent fighter. He is hard to submit, and in the long run, it's a win in the column. And the hardcores will remember this, but a lot of people just look at his record and see it as a win. We know, we learned that even though he's a light heavyweight coming up, he is big enough and has enough physicality to hold a big heavyweight down. Like lots of people couldn't do that to Lewis, and he did it. So he might be a real wrestling threat in this division. And I think it's not all negative. We did learn a couple positives from it, but it was just a shit fight, and I don't have anything to say about the fight, really. But those things.
I knew everyone was going to hate this fight, and I, in this kind of sick way, kind of enjoyed it because I watched it this morning, and I already knew the result, so I was prepared for what I was going to watch. So I was more watching it for the show more than anything else, and kind of ended up in a sick way enjoying it, just for the level of domination at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was half surprised we didn't see more 10-8 rounds, to be honest. But I guess there wasn't. There wasn't.
No, you couldn't score a 10-8 because he wasn't doing enough damage. As a matter of fact, if he was going to get the submissions, okay, and it wouldn't have mattered if he got a 10-8 because he would have finished the fight. But he couldn't even do that. Therefore, it's a defensive situation that Lewis is winning.
It's two out of three categories, though, isn't it? It's damage, duration, and dominance. If I remember rightly, the 3 Ds.
There's no damage, right? But the dominance was only supplemented because Lewis couldn't get submitted.
And duration, though, 21 minutes of the fight.
Yes, but did we see Lewis? I get what you're saying. It's just looking at it like Almeida literally couldn't do anything else to him.
No, I can kind of see why people didn't give it a 10-8, but at the same point, like I said, 2 out of the 3 Ds. If you want to go that route.
Like if he attempts like maybe a couple of more strikes and a couple of more spots where he's like just being very sneaky with the submissions, like very aggressive with certain spots, I could see a 10-8, but just not enough. Like if he's just sitting on top of him and not applying more damage, like you said, 21 minutes. Of those 21 minutes, maybe 5 minutes was aggressive in looking for a finish, and even then it was few and far between at that. Like, for as much as we looked at that fight being a dominant performance for Almeida, like you could argue the time spent trying to finish the fight was just as much as Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis was on his back for 21 minutes.
Incidentally, one of the commentators said it was 12-1 odds for it going 5 minutes, for it going 5 rounds.
Oh my god! I wish I could have bet near California. I would have put money on that.
I think everyone thought Almeida would get the submission pretty quick, but he just didn't.
No, like again, if you're apparently Derek Lewis has proven if you simply don't believe in jiu-jitsu, it cannot hurt you.
Well, that doesn't always work out. Like Dave Herman said the same thing, I think, right before he got submitted. So
Yeah,
it
but that's
can.
not Derek Lewis. That's Derek Lewis, though.
Yeah.
Only Derek Lewis can prove it.
Yeah.
What do you think about his call out for Gan?
I don't like it. There's no reason for that fight to happen. Gon should be trying to get a fight with Stipe. That's what I think.
Not gonna happen. That's never going to happen.
No,
No, it doesn't. I don't think it needs to happen. I think it's just if he threatens Gon and Gon's pretty much not the guy anymore right now. Aspinall and Pavlovich are. Jones is out for 8 months, possibly a year. Stipe is not going to look to fight anybody. And honestly, I would just tell him to retire. What are we going to wait for?
Yeah.
Unless he wants to. Well, like if he's going to wait out and be 43, 44 by the time he comes back, you're not Randy Couture, dude. Like there's only a few guys that can do that. And realistically, he's coming off of a terrible knockout loss to begin with and 2 years off.
Well, to be fair, we're doing the preview show, and that's going to do a lot of the serious heavyweight stuff.
Okay, fair. Yes.
I think we all know how I'd feel about Jailton facing Gan. It should be quite amusing to me. I don't think it'd be fun. I don't think it'd be a fun fight for Cyril though. Guru did suggest Marcin Tybura his next opponent, but I guess we can carry on to that one. So we can jump into the next fight: Nicholas Dalby versus Gabriel Bonfim. Bonfim loses his 15-0 record?
Yeah.
It was. Korean Gone Bad, the only Discord member to pick Dalby. So well done, Korean Gone Bad. Unless it was a misclick, in which case you're a lucky guy. So yeah. Again, a quick. Bonfim looked pretty good in the first round. Loads of nice takedown. Loads of pressure. Bit of ground and pound. I think he had a late Von Flue choke attempt. And then second round dominant again, first couple of minutes, and then Dalby just kind of came back and just pushed back pressure against the fence. Great striking, catches him with a late knee strike. As Dominic Cruz said, he's featuring tonight well, isn't he, Dominic Cruz? Dalby walked through the storm, he walked through the fire, and he got a win. Just an outstanding performance, possibly a fight of the night contender. And funnily enough, his first ever UFC finish. He's never finished a fight before. And the guy called out asking for a top 15 opponent. I guess he did just beat a serious future contender in Bonfim. So does he deserve one? So again, what do you think, guys? Do you want to take this one, Dave?
Yeah. I thought it was a fun fight. I wish someone from the Discord was saying that this Bonfim, even though he was like 15-0, he might actually be like the lesser Bonfim. And I think that kind of proved to be the case. Like, I don't know, he looked like everything you said, I agree with, Dangermouse, but also I thought his striking actually looked pretty sharp and precise and powerful in the first, but he just kind of like collapsed and all that pressure, like, I mean, about 3 minutes into round two, he just like couldn't take it. And Nicholas Dalby was really impressive with his fighting spirit, and no matter what, he just kept on coming forward and eating shots, and he's got a nice little run. And I don't think he's gonna go to the top of the division or nothing, but
yeah, is he like 4-0?
Yeah,
4 fights. Yeah.
I mean, I've been sleeping on him, so I'm not going to anymore. I don't know if I'll pick him in his next fight, and I don't even know what I want next for him at this fight, but I'm actually more interested in the fall of Bonfim is a big prospect. Like, he kind of just fell apart out there. But, Dalby might be a problem for, some of the I don't know if it would be like a top 15 fighter, but man, he sure does have that dog in him and fun fighter. It was my fight of the night. I think it actually was the fight of the night, and they both got
Yeah, it was.
bonuses. And that was just a good fight. I don't know what's next for him, but that's all I got.
Austin?
All right. Well, the fight itself was fun to watch. The crowd kind of helped make this one a little bit more fun. But the problem with this fight is that it basically puts the winner in a almost like in a not so much a non-win situation. Dalby basically beats a untested, prospect, and if Bonfim beats Dalby, he's beaten a veteran that's got 3 wins, but his last loss was to Tim Means, and that doesn't mean a whole. It's not that Tim Means is a terrible fighter, but like it means that like this, they're kind of still stuck in the same spot regardless. They just need to kind of have more momentum going into their next fight. Ideally, now Dalby is on the cusp of a top 15 fight, or at least fighting a ranked fighter. I don't think he's there just yet. Beating a good prospect is grounds for you moving up the ladder, absolutely, but I don't think you're just there yet. I think he needs another fight. Looks impressive in that fight, absolutely. We're talking about a top 15 matchup right after that. As far as Bonfim is concerned, this means nothing. Fine. Terrible that he lost in the manner that he did, considering he was, I thought he was winning the fight, but going into this, like the momentum was definitely going to help him get another matchup and possibly get more events at home. But in this case, it kind of backfires, and now he's just got to start over. That's it. Nothing more. And I don't know if he was or wasn't the more talented Bonfim. They both have now take losses, considering both of them came into the UFC undefeated. So, hey, you know what? One Bonfim wasn't able to fight. Maybe it was for the best, because if he had fought, he may have also lost, considering he was fighting another tough vet and Vince Michelle. Missed weight. That's
Yeah.
on him. So, looking at this event, maybe it was ideal that okay, if he gets beat by a tough vet, oh well. Like he's just got to get himself up, get another couple of wins underneath his belt, and guess what? He's right back on the winning streak. Looking at a possible ranked opponent after this, but he's got to get there first. So let's just see how he bounces back. This is probably a good thing for him in the long run.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to point out. I just noticed that Dalby was 38. I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it, funnily enough.
So that kind of throws me down.
He had been fighting for a while, so I mean, this is his second stint in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, because he had been released and then came back. Kind of like had a blood and guts war in Cage Warriors, and since then has been very consistent as far as like showing up, regardless if he wins or loses. Yeah. So good for Dalby, man. Like I said, I would love to just see another fight, just to see if he's if he's that of that ilk, to get one more win and then get a ranked opponent right after that. If they gave him a ranked opponent, I wouldn't complain about it. I would just kind of caution, hey, let's just take it slow.
Yeah, he was kind of outclassed a lot of that fight, I think. But
yeah, that's the thing. I would prefer him to kind of take his time on that, because the minute he loses, it's not going to be ideal.
Yeah.
I guess we're done on that one then. So from the rest of the card, any particular fight or fights you guys want to discuss?
David, you got one?
I was going to talk about fight of the night, but we've already kind of accidentally agreed on that one. But it's the co-main. I guess I can give which one did I put down as an honorable mention? Vito Petrino versus Bukasis. I think was a pretty decent fight, but I don't know if you saw that, Austin.
I got the highlights of it. I saw the finish, and I was just more disappointed in Bukakis. because he literally walked into it considering where he was coming from before that. Like, and it's not like Vitor was looking like a goddamn killer the entire time, but like you could tell he was the better fighter. But it was just more like, damn, man, like you could have just kind of kept your guard up and not like walked into a straight hand. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm not a fighter. That's true too. But still, um, I mean, it would be interesting to see how Vitor does. He's now what? That's his second or third fight in the organization, right?
Not sure.
Um, looking at it, I mean, because he had just beaten uh Prakniau, and this is his third fight inside of the organization. Because he beats Anton Turjagli, the Pleasure Man, and Marcin Prakniau, and now Modestas Bukakas. Uh, he's got a little streak going. Yes, he's undefeated, but still, like, I would like to see him fight one more fighter, and then maybe we talk about, possibly, him in co-main and featured bouts similar to this one. Well, not this is a prelim fight, but still, be interesting to see if he could get another win. And I don't know who you put him up against because this division is just ridiculous right now. Like, you have a former middleweight challenging the former light heavyweight champion who was out and only had 3 fights prior to his exit because of injury. So, like, the division's is a little bit of a fucking mess right now.
Bukakis needs to be glad that I think it was Goddard again. He spotted that they Gav hadn't given him his mouthpiece, and I think he roasted him for a bit, and got his mouthpiece put in, and then 2 minutes later, or whatever it was, he walked into that check left hook from hell from Petrino.
Yes. Goddard trying to save the day again.
Yeah, he did a mostly good night, did Mark Goddard, I think. There might be some criticism about the main event, but I think you've got to allow a certain. I don't know. What do you think? Did he leave him too much time to? I know we're going back to the main event, and it was relatively dull for some people, but did Goddard mess up in the refereeing on the main event? Should he have stood him up, perhaps?
No, because he did enough to work. The problem is like if you want it, the idea is to not have the referee interject themselves in the fight. You want it to be as seamless as possible so that it gives the illusion of a proper bout. The only problem is that Derek Lewis is just kind of like biding time and allowing because they were both mutually accepting of the position. Derek tried to stall or stuff the takedowns as best as he could, and he did a couple of times. But when they were both waiting for the other to kind of make the next move, it was more of like a checkers, not chess kind of situation. I think Goddard did the right thing by allowing them to kind of work out of their positions, as boring as it was. Because the worst thing you could do is tell the guy on the mat who's not fighting back is like, well, work. Well, he can't do anything. He's going to put himself in a position to possibly get submitted. And Derek Lewis just, again, finds a way to be able to stand up or, just get put back on his ass again because he couldn't do anything. And that's, partially why Almeida was as dominant, but Almeida couldn't do anything to him either. So if Almeida was not throwing punches, okay, it's a different story. But he threw a couple and just enough to kind of get the fight moving enough to where the ref wasn't intervening as much. Again, it's up to the guy on the bottom to try to get up. But, we were on that cusp. Thankfully, Almeida just threw just enough strikes to not allow Derek Lewis to get stood up and possibly get cracked, But
Has he fought at light heavyweight?
Almeida, yes, I think
Yeah.
he had fought once and then got a short notice fight against the Pleasure Man, and then stayed as a heavyweight after that.
That's just
Let me
curious.
double check.
Obviously, he's not a massive heavyweight by any means. Then again, I guess he's on a similar level to Cyril Gann, isn't he? So
Yeah, so he had Dana White Contender Series fight, and then Danilo Marquez, he finishes him. And then I think it was the Parker Porter fight that he took. And it was like, all right, well, now he's trying to test himself as a heavyweight and takes a short notice fight against against the Pleasure Man. I just him in here again. And then that's it. That's like, okay, all right. So that was a short notice, like heavyweight, light heavyweight fight. So I think that was a catchweight bout. But after that, it was like he's wanted to be consistently a heavyweight because then after that, he's facing actual named heavyweights: Shamil Abdurakhimov and then Jairzinho Rosenstrike and now Derek Lewis. He's able to finish Abdurakhimov and Parker Porter, Marquez before that. He can finish people. I think this was just a tough fight. That's it.
Okay. Let's carry on. Let's get back to what we were talking about after I diverted it. Quick question, Dave. Did you see the? I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his first name. The Baralho versus Magomedov fight.
Yeah, I saw that fight. I thought it was pretty good. An obvious win for Cow, I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he actually. What's that?
Said Abbas gassed again in the third round, I think.
Yeah. He looked good. He used his striking a lot, and he's kind of a fun fighter for the division. He actually looked better than I thought he would. I didn't really know that much about Abus, but I heard he gassed, and like you said, he kind of did late. I thought it was funny how Brow was celebrating at the end, like he knocked him out or something, like he just won a decision.
Yeah.
And he's freaking out, jumping on the cage and all that. But it was a fun fight, fun enough fight.
For me, this fight, I was gonna say like Abus was was it just me or was Abus kind of like waiting for Cal to have a offensive moment, like looking to counter more often, like. But did he look kind of nervous in there? Because that's kind of the energy that I saw.
Don't forget, Sean Strickland beat the hell out of him last time he was in an octagon. So
yeah, and I mean that's the other thing too is that he looked good in the first round of that fight and then immediately gassed. So was it just because that he had a bad experience that he still is kind of like taking that into his next fight? Like, because that's what it felt like to me watching it.
Maybe that and fighting like in Brazil and
that makes because like looking at him, he had the better, cleaner strikes. He just wasn't active. And then by virtue of not being active, he's giving Cal opportunities to be offensive, and he's just waiting. And sure enough, like coming when they actually start throwing hands, Abus is having a problem with getting hit, and Cal isn't. Cal's getting hit, but he's just moving forward. Like even if Abus is still maintaining the presence inside the cage, Cal's literally landing and making him kind of, oh damn, okay, he's actually hitting me. I have to kind of correct myself. And then by the time we're in that, last round, he gets him clean a couple of times, and Abus is just not able to respond or go to a secondary plan. There wasn't even an attempt to like really wrestle. I mean, probably for the best considering that Abus isn't known as to be a grappler, but still, I just it was more disappointing to see that like okay, the fight actually went the distance, but he wasn't very active or not as active, as I would like. Like if I'm gonna think of anything, he needs to move out of his camp. He needs to get in with some deep water camps, like throw him in with who is it? Go to Florida, maybe mess around with some of those fighters over there. Some of those divisions are pretty deep with some of their fighters. Who is it? Oh dear Jesus!
like Henry Hoops or Mike Brown.
No, well, yeah. I'm sorry, not ATT, but the other one.
Oh, Henry Hoops gym.
Yes, thank you. He needs to just get into a couple of scraps. That's what it looks like. That dude needs to just kind of get out of his comfort zone. That's literally what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually thought the heavyweight fight after that one was more better. That was a fun fight. I enjoyed that one more.
Nascimento.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Mays wasn't that good to begin with, and it's like, Nascimento is just like this guy who happens to be a little bit more well-rounded. Probably has slightly better condition, although he's got big glove handles, but still.
Yeah, I thought it was
They-
just a fun matchup, like a sloppy banger.
yeah,
Mays
yeah,
fought with his hands down a lot, and like I think they had like a hundred. Like there was a lot of strikes. It was like the second most strikes on the card, or the third most strikes, and they were heavyweights, like a couple hundred or something.
it was like a hundred, almost 100 for both, and then like almost 200 combined, and
Hmm.
then like significant strikes for almost were 80 and 70 apiece.
Yeah, it was a fun fight.
Yeah,
I like that one better, but
yeah, a rematch that nobody asked for either.
Oh, was that rematch? Oh.
Yeah, as Nascimento had submitted him prior, and I think it was funny because it's like, oh, all right, this is another matchup, another heavyweights, middling heavyweights kind of thing, and oh yeah, that's right, they had fought. Wait, they fought?
Obviously, didn't do my research on that one.
No, it was just funny because I had picked that up after the fight. I was like, oh, they fought?
I think my other fight of the, well, not fight of the night, I guess KO of the night, Elvis Brenner versus Kanan Khrushchevsky by punch, round one, 4 minutes and 1 second. Um, I think was that the one that just sent him sprawling face down and then he was almost immediately straight back up, or am I thinking of a different fight?
No, he was dead on the ground. He
'Cause
he
I
literally
was
clipped
stood
him
over him,
behind, like,
wasn't he?
on the ear. Yeah, he clipped him on the ear, which is technically legal, but like it was just he walked forward and then the punch came in and it was like a hook, right? And
Yeah.
landed right on the ear. Never saw the punch. I just thought he tripped and then hit his head, and that was it. I was like, oh no, he got clipped, like almost like Dustin Poirier did against Conor McGregor first time. Like just a clip right behind. Never saw it. It was already over by the time. Like there was, yeah, there was he. Elvis was pretty much he didn't need to finish it because he was already out. You know, clean, I guess. But I mean, considering that Elvis just beat who is it, Guram Kutasaladze in his last fight, like
Couldn't remember. I
yeah,
was just looking. I
he
was
was
just looking for a note there. Again, my favorite friend tonight, Dominic Cruz, called it a right hand step through overhand left. So that's what he hit him with apparently. You what? Sorry, say again, Dave.
what was that again?
A right hand step through overhand left.
Interesting.
Go back and listen to the commentary. It kind of
yes,
does describe it.
it was like a parry, almost not a parry, but like he had kind of feinted with the right hand, right, and
Yeah,
then
pretty
came
much.
in with the left. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
He kind of threw the right, then ducked down, and the obviously overhand left comes through. Like you said, clipped him behind the ear, and that was it. Just turned the lights out. It was instant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's more disappointing than anything because it's like, damn it, like that there was nothing that he could have done differently other than just not move forward.
And I think
But Elvis is now 3-0 in lightweight.
yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, he because he wins his first fight, and then takes on a known killer, in Guram Kutasaladze, and like, well, I'm sorry, he actually fought Zabara Tugov, won via split decision in his premier fight in the organization, and now seemingly is finishing these random. Well, Guram is probably his best win, other than Zabara, and Zabara was like at what? Well, 55. Yeah, it was interesting. Brenner seems like a guy that you want to keep an eye out for, considering that his strength of schedule has just improved. This is probably the lighter of his like record, but still, getting finishes means something, especially in this division.
Certainly does. Dave, anything on that fight?
Nothing on that fight now.
Then I guess we might as well. We're not exactly flying through. Well, we're flying through the card tonight. So Rinat Fakhr. Oh, how the hell do you pronounce that one? Versus
Fakhretdinov, I think.
Fakhrudinov, yeah, versus Zalewski. Versus Dos Santos. The majority draw fight, which ended a 20-fight win streak, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, I think this
God.
dude was like a hyper prospect. I think I might have actually picked Elizio, but was that first round? Should that have been a 10-8? Do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. All right, so that was, and I got no problems with the decision. It kind of went how I expected it to go. I mean, I think people underrated Dos Santos, and I think he's kind of sneaky good. And
Yeah.
I kind of expected Renat would fall off, and he'll come back and he'll be better and he'll learn, and that's what I got.
I had only seen the highlights of this fight. I wasn't able to watch it in time. But this is kind of like par for the course for Dos Santos. Like, regardless of how he fights, he allows the fight to be competitive. Like he's either finishing his opponents or he's getting he's getting kind of handed a hard fight regardless, and either ekes out a victory or he gets into a hard fight that he kind of allows to slip away from him. He's never had an easy road. I mean, Renat is one of those guys that like just came off of murdering Kevin Lee, so there's no measure for us to kind of look at him and think, okay, yeah, this guy's like legit. I mean, he beat a guy who probably wasn't on his level when Kevin, and unfortunately now he faces a guy that is a little bit more veteran at the weight class. This is what happened. You have round one cardio and you're able to kind of continue to go through the fight, and oh wait, my plan A didn't work. My plan B is just I guess fight. I don't know. But maybe this is a good, like we said, about Gabriel Bonfim. This is probably good for Renat. Like he just needs another couple of fights to kind of hone his skills a little bit more. Be willing to go to a plan B, because guess what? Sometimes you're not going to just finish them in the first round, and if you don't finish them in the first round, do you have supplemental skills to win the fight? And honestly, you don't even have to finish the fight. Do you have the skills to actually take the fight to a decision? That's a lot harder to do. And now he's going to have to work. He's going to actually have to work on that.
I agree with all that.
Is that it?
I believe so.
Okay, so KO of the night. I know you. Yeah, in fact, you've seen all the highlights. KO of the night, everybody.
Vitor.
Going for Vitor. Dave.
Probably Brenner. That was a good KO.
He's just because he's a part of Oliveira's gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I figured.
I think I decided on Vitor as well. So I guess we're done with the card there, pretty much.
There's a couple people I'd like to shout out. Angela Hill.
Yeah.
Like, I think,
yeah, of course, yeah.
I think Denise Gomez is tough, and she actually didn't even go to a split decision. She got a unanimous decision, unanimous territory, and
Yeah, for a change.
she's got a ton of fights, and she's up there in age, but it was nice to see her get it done. And then also, it was nice to see the return of D1 Mark Diakese and him get it done.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. He's a good fighter. He just needs the encouragement. That's it. You got to encourage him.
He trains local. He trains local to me as well. He's a Doncaster boy. I kind of thought the other guy might pull off a win, being as Diakese was, or was somebody in the Discord called him D1 Casey. was he's on a 2-fight skid. I thought maybe the other kid, hyped up by his debut, might actually put an end to him for a fight. But all credit
Nah.
to him. All credit to him for a grinding win to start the night, so we could finish the night with a grinding win as well.
Yeah.
How fitting. How very fitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations to Angela Hill. Yeah, she deserved the win. She had a
Mhm.
tough first round and then stepped it up and applied her veteran trade. Weird how
Mhm.
how old is she? She's about 38, did you say? Or am
Yeah, I
I
think
imagining?
so.
Yeah. How is it that women can go on so long?
I don't
I
know. They
don't think
live
they
longer
take
too.
as
So
well. Yeah, they do. And then I think she's not taking nearly as much damage in both training and in combat. Like she'd only had like a couple of kickboxing bouts before her actually UFC debut, and then sure enough, like she started at like 1-0 or something after the Ultimate Fighter. So
Was the what was the women's MMA fight where the giant took on the small lady? Uh, it's the other female fight, wasn't it? Was it Mora?
no, unfortunately, this was going to I missed, and I was going to try to go back in because I'd only seen the highlights of everything else, and then I missed the first two, more or less.
Okay, Dave.
yeah, I didn't pay attention to that fight at all.
Okay. In that case, then we might as well gone to the big fight of the week between Chael and Ariel Helwani. What do you
Oh
think, guys?
god.
Think about that?
I I don't know. Is it just me, or are we all tired of the little spats that happen to happen every now and again? Like I think Chael kind of amped it up unnecessarily, and I think Ariel's been looking for a reason to kind of talk back to him, but I just felt like a little bit more sour grapes. I guess Chael's more of a Zuffa boy, so that's what it kind of felt like to me. But like Ariel was kind of going about it, kind of like, "Oh yeah, I'm better than you." I'm like, "Well, Ariel, you kind of are, you're kind of like the guy who has the company you keep kind of person. Like, if you have all these guys as friends, you'd be surprised when they start turning on you. Yeah, maybe you might be some of the problem, but then again, it's typical for Ariel Helwani.
I did watch a little video of Jelton Almeida sorry, not Jelton Almeida. Oh bloody hell, what am I thinking of now? Light heavyweight.
Go on, Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Hmm.
Him talking about it, saying that Ariel would not have been half so ballsy if Chael had been actually stood in front of him there.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I mean, it depends too. All right, I mean, he's had guests. I mean, you guys remember that whole situation he had with Mayhem Miller, where he was like
Yeah.
inside, he wouldn't break character because he was trying to do the movie for the Here Comes the Boom, right, with
Yeah.
Kevin James. And he's literally destroying the set and then like acting like he's still the guy. It's like
Yeah.
he's
Oh, is
been
that
there.
what that was?
Yeah. Like he
I
was
only
so
remember
committed to the
vaguely now.
role. No, he wasn't like an actor. He was just like playing the asshole. And I guess he just never stopped playing the asshole. He's
Yeah, he
been
was
through
just
it.
method acting. Like he never
Well,
left character while they were filming.
never did. And I think he's still doing it to this day.
On the Helwani and Chael beef, like at first I thought it was real and I was like, holy shit. But just after seeing like how much social media attention it's drawn and how many people are talking about it, I've flipped and I think it's skits and bits and it's all just to get social media attention. Kind of disregarded all of it.
The weird thing for me was like the specifics of the rat situation. It's like, all right, look, you guys
Well, he
had a
didn't say rat.
that's what I'm saying. It's like you guys had a disagreement. If you misinterpret certain things in an argument, things get heated, you know.
Yeah.
But like I felt like Chael was not going to win the argument because he sounded more annoyed that Ngannou had been able to do the thing he wanted. And he's always been a Zuffa first kind of guy, or a Dana first kind of guy, or a
Well,
UFC kind
Taylor was
of, you know.
right on his first original point. No one had reported Francis's earnings except Ariel just pulling figures out of his ass.
Yeah, and
Which
then
have been somewhat disproved by the revelation of the actual viewing figures, at least as far as the American market's concerned. It's 67,500.
Yeah, but that wasn't the point. The point was that he was going to get 2 big deals regardless. He was getting a flat fee to box, which is usually the reason why you get a flat fee when you box, because you can't predict how the pay-per-views are going to go.
That's not right though, Austin. That's not right.
No,
How
Chael's first argument was that was about how much Francis was being paid for this fight, and Ariel said 10 to 20 million, and Chael asked where he got it from, and he said, and then the argument went off, and obviously, of course, it was just Ariel admitted eventually it was just his opinion on the figures, didn't get them from anywhere.
Well, the thing was it was like 10 to 20 million. Like he got 10 million no matter what. And then based on pay-per-view sales, he'd get up to 20 million. And so Ariel was saying 10 to 20 million. And Chael asked him who his source was or who reported it. And Helwani actually admitted, he's like, I reported it. I said it. Yeah. So he's like quoting himself. So it's just like, whatever.
Well, you want to be the first one to say it. John S. Nash has said it to begin with. Like, that's what he was looking for to begin with, get a boxing match. Like, that's what he was asking for. And the Saudis are like, all right, well, we'll give you a flat fee. And whatever the pay-per-view happens to generate, they work on that deal individually. He's getting a flat fee regardless. So that was the whole thing, right? And we're looking at the pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view didn't do any good because it only generated like 5 million, 5.5 million, like over $5 million. Like, that's not a lot considering the pay-per-views were like worth $80. So like, they knew the pay-per-view wasn't going to sell well, and I imagine it's because of the association with the Saudi Kingdom.
Like, well, I think it's more that it was at 2:00 in the afternoon in the United States, and also like a lack of advertising didn't help and shit, and like, because some people buy fights in Saudi no matter what. Like,
no, I mean, not really. I mean, like, to me, it felt like people were more talking about it, and yes, we are in a Discord that talks about combat sports, but like we literally, I felt more people talking about Tyson Fury and Ngannou fighting, but then they probably found a way to watch the fight or the highlights. It was available to buy on ESPN Plus. I saw the thing there. I didn't buy it, but I found a way to kind of watch it, Yeah,
well, I mean, either way, they were arguing about the payment. And here's the thing is, like, it appears that Chael knew the numbers the whole time. Like, when Chael did that interview with Helwani, it seems that he actually knew the buy rates that whole time. And so Chael knew he was going to get like a little over 10 million because the numbers were shit. And so it kind of changes the whole perspective on that interview a little bit, knowing that Chael knew that the numbers were shit.
So you're saying it's kayfabe?
Well, Ariel might not have known that Chael knew the numbers were shit, but I think the whole of them going at each other as big as they were is kayfabe because they like all the social media impression.
I guess so. I just felt it was more dramatic than it.
Aren't they on the show on Monday together?
See, if they're back on together on Monday, then yeah, it was kayfabe.
Well, I guess we'll find out then.
Yeah.
And then Ariel's been in the news again today, hasn't he, with Ali Abdelaziz. Ariel announced that Islam would be fighting Oliveira at Toronto in January. Yeah,
he announced it
in January, and then Ali Abdelaziz came out and went fake news, and then Gregor Komato has confirmed via Dana that it will not be happening in Toronto. It looks like March for that fight.
Sounds like trying to cap on a Helwani kind of moment, but it's like you try to trust Ali on that one.
Well, it's funny. I think Ali wants it to be against Gaethje. He wants 2 of his fighters in the same fight.
Well, I think at this point, it's like if you gave it to Oliveira or Gaethje, I don't think there's a wrong choice. I mean, ideally, it should be Gaethje because he just finished Poirier. Oliveira just finished Benny.
Yeah.
One of those guys has a longer, has a history, and unfortunately wasn't available to fight because of an injury. As long as he's available to fight relatively soon, before Ramadan kicks in, I don't think it should be I don't think it should be an issue for either of them to get the fight. I'd prefer Justin just because we've already seen Charles, but
Yep.
either one I think would be fine. As long as it's just a lightweight, no more featherweights.
Well, before Islam makes his move up to welterweight, quite possibly.
I think he can do 2 more title defenses. I mean, technically, he now has 2 title defenses against a featherweight. Granted, he was the pound for pound at one point and was considered the pound for pound at another point. And both of them he beat. One was close. The other one he left absolutely no doubt, although it was on short notice. And he did take the title from Charles. If he gets 2 more title defenses, he breaks Khabib's record.
I was just going to ask that, yeah.
Or the lightweight championship title defense record is 3. So he needs 4 to basically cement his history.
Yeah. I'll just throw a quick one out because we've got plenty of time left. The fight I thought of. Obviously, I'm a bit of a Leon Edwards fan. And actually, I'm gonna. I don't know if I should stop this because we're going to do a draft in the little gap we have where there's no UFC. So I'm going to shut my mouth now, and I'm not going to go any further on that prospective fight for Leon Edwards. Anyway, that's all from us here at Just Bleed Radio for tonight. Anyway, we will be back with our pre-show for UFC 295 taking place at Madison Square Gardens. That's the fight, it's not our show. So please like and subscribe, leave us a comment, and we'll see you on the next one. Good night, everybody. And from my hosts,
see you later, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, we did it.
You got it, guys. Yeah, well
Fuck you, Austin.
Fuck you. What do you mean?
Austin, what did I do to you?
Goddamn sinks. What did you fucking do?
What did I do? I would much rather replace a sink than a garage door spring. Like, that's under tension.